All right, welcome to Soul Conversations with Sandra. It's a podcast. My guest is Angelique from God is Switching the Codes. That's right, we're live. Thank you for joining us. And as Instagram is telling our followers that we're live, let's just, have a little opening energy, right? Remember that anything that is said in any of my lives, anywhere on any platform, is for you to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I'm not here to have an argument or have a tit for tat. You take what resonates for you, and that goes with any of my guests. They're giving you their best scenario based on their perspective, their growth, and their expansion, and they're sharing it with you, right? So it one size just truly doesn't fit all, and that's what my platform is about. It's about you getting the information you want for you to grow and shift, to expand and evolve you. Whether you're having a spiritual awakening or not, it doesn't matter. Whether you're a Christian, devout Christian, or a devout spiritualist, or atheist, or agnostic, it does not matter. What matters is your growth, your expansion, and as Angelique said, our next guest, wholeness. So, as we invite Angelique in, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's all right to express your opinion, but don't get angry about it. Just express it, let it flow, and let's keep going. All right? And who am I to tell you not to get angry? That's an emotion that you get to have or not. All right? So, let me invite her in. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Hello,
Welcome,
hello, hello.
welcome, welcome,
How are
welcome.
you?
How are we
Can
doing?
you hear me?
I can hear you. Um,
Yes. How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. I'm excellent. I'm excellent. Full of wholeness, full of divine grace, and excited about. There are some days where I feel excited more well, no, I feel excited every day, but there are some days where I have a desire of more of a knowing, and sometimes that puts me on a level of a lower level, because I think the lower level becomes the energy that I'm discerning as growth, and it kind of so this last week I've been hovering between those levels, just to be honest.
So why would you say the lower level for you is a level of discernment? What is the higher level for you?
Well, for me, it's a uh, for me sometimes it can resonate in doubt, like if I'm still on the right path, I mean, or uncertainty. For me though, at the vibration of how they feel is different than the exuberance of my I've got this, in that higher octave of level. And I
And
think that's just it's a twofold. I get it. It's a twofold because it allows my higher being to feel through me, um the positive polarity and the negative polarity. I've got to have it. I mean, I can't say, oh, I'm spiritual and I just don't have those things. I gotta have it, and this week was one of those, you know because with all the spiritual gifts that are open to me now, and that I won't even say I'm wading through. I'm kind of, marching through, really kind of exuberantly, and then go, oh, do I really have this? And I think it's more with the technology end of it, the back end of everything I'm doing. I think I know exactly what my spiritual being wants or desires, what the divine is moving through me, but it's that physical form that's been flowing through me as well. Yeah, it's that physical form of the tools that I have that get me kind of like, do I really have this? That kind of thing. I hope that answers the question. That was so long-winded
Yeah,
for me.
no, that was no, that was perfect. I asked that because, there might be people listening who don't know anything of like what is discernment, what is this, what is higher level, lower level, et cetera, and what does that mean for you, right? Like there essentially the question was for you, so there is no wrong answer with that. It's your answer. I love what Vermel was saying in regards to that's been flowing through him as well. He came to the beach and surrounding those thoughts and feelings to the universe and allowing himself to be held in the love frequency of the ocean. Yeah, what I was gonna say was the past few days the moon was in Pisces, and whoo we normally, like, Pisces moon phases are typically known to be like emotionally and bring you to that deep space of contemplation, but this this sequence of right before, I kid you not, I mean, the feeling tired, the needing of, like, holistic medicine versus like the poisons or the subconscious programmings, like the Piscean energy of this moon was so amplified, especially because we just had a major portal that was activated during the full moon, right, in Capricorn, and we have a lot of Mars and Uranus conjunction happening. So this is, unexpected events. This is challenging anything that's not in your true authenticity, that you're gonna like, am I self-sabotaging? Am I honoring my soul's true motives? Am I allowing myself to follow my passions? Am I allowing the opinions of others to distract me or or derail me from my purpose and my mission? Because yes, there's the polarities, two sides to it, where it could have been very and I think confrontation is a beautiful thing, but there's the pros and the cons to it, right? Where confrontation doesn't necessarily mean argumentative, but it can lead to arguments, right? Confronting something is, all right, this has come to my awareness, and I'm gonna confront it to understand it a little bit more, not necessarily already resisting and provoking some form of disagreement or separation. Sometimes it's confronting it to bring unity and harmony with integration of what is the information bringing to you. And so that the Mars in Gemini conjunct Uranus and Taurus was really about that. It was like, oh, we're gonna have this moon in Pisces give y'all all the feelings, and Mommy Wata has been talking so loud. Like, we just as a collective made a major quantum leap within like 2 weeks ago, and the portals have shifted and then they closed and then it reopened, I want to say yesterday, with the north node, because the moon was conjunct with the north node. And so there's portals, energy is always in motion, energy is always moving. And um, these are demiurges. When I'm talking about the zodiac signs, these are mathematical equations that influence the toroidal field of this earth that we live on, right? On this planet that we live on, who is a sentient being, but it's also a being that gives us the liberation of it for some people it's a prism, and for some people it's a liberation, and essentially she has the geometrics of the mathematics to create it as such, is based on your illusion, on your creation, on that. But oh yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
kind of went on a tangent there. Pisces moon was
Yeah, it was a good
emotional.
tangent. It was a really good tangent. Ramiel says, and I'm getting in my own way. I'm doing it. Hold on a second. I'm doing it right. Is there more that I should be doing? Is the question that
Has been coming
that
up for me.
have been coming up for me? Yes.
So
And welcome to Om by Powerful Divine. Welcome. Thank you for calling us,
yeah.
beautiful ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, Hype. Welcome, Lubella.
Yeah.
Lula
Right
Bella.
now, that was a very normal question that a lot of people, that actually that influence, that's why I brought up the Mars Uranus conjunction, because that energy was to provoke or influence and stimulate um action. All right, so if those of you who, there was a time period earlier this year where it was about rest, restore, recover, right? And everything has its time and its season, and so do you. And these are demiurges, right? They're not necessarily like controlling us, but they do add like elements. It's like water, like air, like fire. Essentially, they contribute, if you allow it to be a contribution or a tool to your creation, right? So that energy was to stimulate, like putting oil on something that's when, like when the door is rusty and it's like, and you put the oil in it and now it can, oh, that's moving so smooth, right? Essentially, it's in the areas where you were feeling rusty, you were now feeling activations in this, and it was acting like an oil to allow smooth integration, to allow smooth transitions and movements to your higher self, to your, and so a lot of us, we felt that, we're like, ooh, like a smooth criminal, I could do this, I could, and then it's like being so active and not realizing, with the moon in Aries, Aries is a go-getter. Aries is a leader. Aries is going to initiate, right? Taking the risk, the leap of faith, right? Regardless of the outcome, you may not finish it, but you're starting it, right? And because of that energy, and Mars and Gemini, Mars, the twins, right? It's gonna tap into both polarities. I'm doing so good. I'm moving towards my North Node. Ooh, this may be challenging. What I would like people to recognize is change can be uncomfortable, especially when you're going to your North Node. It's going to trigger the rusty parts of yourself that you haven't been working on and haven't been active on, because it's taking you outside of your comfort zone. And the Uranus energy does the same thing. It wants you to have a breakthrough. It wants you to break out of your traditional box and go for the unconventional side of yourself, to really be in your wholeness and your completion with that. So when we get activated, it's like, oh, I'm so good at this and I'm so good at this. Well, that may be because past lives, and whether in this lifetime or past lifetimes, or it may be closely related to your south node, but your north node is saying, yeah, you could be good at all of that, but I need you to be over here. And over here requires you to learn. So like how Sandra was getting frustrated with the technology, is like, she's like, I'm so good at what my soul knows me to do, and I know that I can do this, but it doesn't take away from me asking the questions of, because I have to learn something new that's uncomfortable. That's where that north node is. It's gonna have you question parts of yourself, and we had the moon conjunct the north node because this, so if you were asking questions for yourself this week, am I doing enough, is there more that I need to do, am I getting in my own way, these types of questions, then consider yourself a beautiful conscious soul that's aware of your soul's journey, and that you know that you are now developing another side of yourself to strengthen yourself in a space that was either rusty or untapped into, dormant, and now being activated, and that you are on essentially on your right, on your correct path, especially if your answers was like, I am doing a lot, I do know this, I just gotta kind of like I gotta pace myself, I
Right.
gotta learn it, I gotta rearrange. For me it was like, oh, like, I gotta readjust my schedule. It's not I'm incapable of these things. Is how can I do it better? How could I do it different? If you're getting those types of answers to your own questions, then yeah, you're on the right path. If you're not getting those answers, if the answers you're getting is just like, no, like I really feel like I'm not even doing what I need to be doing. Like I need to be doing that, but XYZ, and you're using all the excuses to get in your way to even attempt. Like you haven't even attempted, you haven't initiated, you already let your mind defeat you, then that's where it's like gonna kind of like spank you.
Right. Ramel says, and thank you, hype underscore eternity, because they said that to strengthen your intent. Exactly. And there was one thing that Angelique said. It's when it triggers your rustiness inside you, things that you haven't done. That word there, trigger, is changed from a trigger that is inside you, that is darkness, that you need to be worked through, that you're broken. It's not that you're broken. It triggers you or activates you to have a question within yourself about you, not about it's something that you had in your past, not necessarily about the childhood trauma or a trauma. It's not the trigger that's about trauma. It's the trigger within you about the things that maybe once upon a time you started to do, but you put it to the side, and then when it triggered you, it said, ooh, it's time. And for me, that's what happened. It was, ooh, it's time. And what Angelique also said is sometimes it triggers your inner being to remind it what it came to do, what it came to seek, what it came to learn. And it might be remembering, hey, I tried to learn this in another avatar. It doesn't have to be family related. It doesn't have to be a coming to rectify something that was done wrong. It just has to be, I learned X, Y, and Z, and then I did not get this portion, so I'm learning it now in this avatar body called Sandy. So there are a lot of different words. When we use triggers, it doesn't always mean that you're broken. It doesn't always mean that it's a family trauma that you have to go through. It's kind of like it's triggering you, it's activating you to shift again. And now I can say what Ramel said. Ramel says, no coincidence that I was led to the beach today. I saw that video on the beach that you did. I finished my workout early this morning and went home, and my spirit said, go to the beach. And without a second thought, I just got my stuff together and I went. Then he also says, and now I'm here and I feel so relaxed and centered. And sometimes, even though a lot of people, and this podcast is not just for the collective, for people who are awakened or awakening. It is for everyone that comes in. It is for whether you're religious or whether you're an atheist or a agnostic or whatever. It's so that you know that you're that that intuitive part of you, even if you don't know what the third eye is, even though you don't know what crown chakras are or anything, you have this intuitive voice in you that says, go left instead of right, go right or right instead of straight, go to the beach today. Oh, it looks nice. Let's go to the beach today. And you get to follow that intuitive spark, right? Or not. It's all a free will. And some people say free will is overrated and over talked about, but it really truly is just a free will choice to do either or. There's no right or wrong choice. Well, I'll take that back. In physical form, there's a left and a right. There's a right and a wrong. But in it being the very own right thing to do, and there is no other choice to make, that might be, for me, my perception on that is it's incorrect, because there's infinite possibilities. You can go and do something that you feel is wrong and make a change in your now moment, only by going back to that past now moment and having a judgment and having a discernment instead of a judgment on it. Then you get to take it from, oh, it was wrong then. It felt wrong then. Now I feel like it's right for me. There's no right and wrong. There's I feel like it's right for me, or I feel like it's wrong for me. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. The human form of, right? Go ahead.
No, you can keep talking.
No, I was just looking at, I want to welcome those who just came into the room. Welcome in, welcome. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
I love with Raymel choosing to go to the beach, because one of the biggest things that was coming through was, the other day with the emotions that was coming up, I was joking, but I was feeling all this like sacred rage, essentially, because it was so much collective shifts. And when I tell you, it went from, I don't even know to call it like I can't quite describe it as like a sadness per se, but it was a dense energy of tension that I felt like I was having to mourn or grieve something, but I couldn't quite put my hand on it, or my finger on it. And so I said, okay, what is this? What's moving through me and what's processing? And then I was just getting like so many down like flashes, right, of visuals and stuff. And I started laughing, and then I was like, oh, I'm so angry right now. I could just like, I could go to Yellowstone and erupt a volcano. And then I literally turned my intuition told me, look to the billboard to the left. So I go and I look, I start laughing, because the billboard, it was about a Japanese restaurant, but they had a meal that's called volcanic eruption is the meal. So I started laughing. I guess it's like a type of sushi or something like that, but I'm laughing, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's how I feel. I was like, I'm feeling all this energy is just like, and then less than 24 hours, I get the news that the Old Faithful Geyser, which I have actually been there before years ago in Yellowstone, had erupted. And I was like, oh wow, like I was feeling that message, and I made a joke of it, but I didn't know. It's like, was I foreseeing, or did I co-create with the universe for that to happen, right? Because it shortly happened after I spoke that, right? And so being in the observer, but also cognizant of my words and my feelings and everything like that. So I said, okay, So then I was feeling things with the water. So it's funny that he mentioned going to the ocean. If you know, for those of you, yeah, I don't know, but I had to hit up Sandra earlier today saying, hey, I might be a couple minutes late because they turned off the water where I live. So I had to go get water. While I was getting messages with Mami Wata and the ocean and all these quantum leaps that's happening and the cleansing that's happening with the collective, that there are going to be more, like these hurricanes are going to really be really destructive. They have already been like really intimidating, but there's gonna be like more tornadoes and more like natural disasters than normally, because with the cleansing that's happening on the collective level is to really wash away and wipe out certain energies, like the energies in itself, to do a cleanse. And because there's been a lot of pollution when it comes down to the beach. Well, funny enough, this morning before I got that message, I didn't know. I just woke up with this like urgency, and I have a group chat for those that's in Florida, and with my sisters. And I said, hey sisters, how would y'all feel about doing a gathering at the beach? But it's not just going to be a regular gathering. It's for us to clean up the beach. That at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm feeling like we need to start cleaning up the beach. She's really upset. Mommy Wata's like, y'all, I'm constantly cleansing myself and I'm constantly cleansing y'all, but y'all are not contributing with my energy. Y'all are not working with my energy. Y'all are just using my energy. And just like I could be calm, I can go from calm to hell. And she has shown us this many times before. And I was just like, whoa. And then with the water thing that happened and everything. And so I was not able to go to the beach today, but I felt it in my heart. I said, I feel called to go to the beach. I think I'm gonna have to make some time coming up to the beach, because Mommy Watsa is calling. And I got a phone call from my biological mother that she's going to be coming in town, and she hasn't been able to go to the beach for a while and everything. So we made plans, but I'm saying all of that to say that, there's going to be messages that's going to come up in your intuition that you may not know why it's coming up. You may not know what's the purpose or the meaning of it at that time, but later on it will show itself. And allowing yourself to not be so egotistical of, oh, I knew it, it's okay, what else furthermore is this? Because yes, it could have been foresight, or it could have been that with the power of the tongue being mightier than the sword, creating that into the reality and the atmosphere. But regardless of what, these elements are speaking to us, just like the planet. That's why I mentioned the planets earlier in the zodiac and where it's at, right? We have all of the activations of the universe within us, and therefore we have the ability to tap in to what a planetary system is saying, what a specific zodiac energy is saying, or its personifications, characteristics, the faculties of your mind, right? The essence and vibrations of colors, of numbers, and the days of the week. We also just had what many people may not know, but on July 24th, that is the only day in the year, which is so funny because we have 7 days in a week, 24 hours in a day. So they say 24/7, right? And at 7:24, July 24th, the sun goes directly at 44 degrees, and that is the only day in the year of the calendar, supposedly, of when the sun reaches that a specific angle that the light illuminates the Queen's chamber in the pyramids of Giza. The Queen's chamber is always pitch black dark. That it every day the sun rotates around it, everything like that. It does not touch it. Only but for a couple of minutes at that time. And when the sun rays connects to the Queen's chambers, it illuminates that essence of union, and it acts like a battery charge. That's why it goes down and it goes like a Z. It goes deep down under, and it, as above, so below. It creates a energetic frequency that activates the entire planet, that activates even our cosmos and the earth realm, connecting with the mother energy, connecting with the queen's chamber, connecting, bringing light into dark. That just happened like 2 days ago. Today's the 24th. That happens every year around that time. A lot of people don't know. They know that the pyramids are made with a certain mathematical equation to align with certain star constellations, and that we have a lot of ancient history around the world that is connected to this. But that sun doing that, we're having solar activations, and those activations go down into the water. So if you were feeling called to go to the water, you were probably being called to receive certain activations that you are later going to be bringing forth to others. And the number 7 just came up, and 7s were all over the radar for the last couple of days. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to share about, like the ocean and the activations with the pyramids of Giza and the sun, illuminating certain codes in the pyramids within ourselves and our soul. Sorry about that. I was getting a call. With the pyramids within our chakra systems, the pyramids within our psyche, and our solar plexus, being confident to say, you know what, this may challenge me to confront certain things that I may not have felt comfortable confronting before, but I don't have to resist, and I don't have to be in disagreements of. I could just learn from this. It's like me, how I look at confrontation is, there's a book that I have there that the literature in it is like scholarly. Okay, it's like a scholar is for scholars, and I I have to confront it, not with my fears, but with confidence, and saying, okay, I'm ready to learn from you. Although I know that some of the words may be challenging for me, I'm gonna take it one paragraph at a time, if that's what I need, or if I need to like pause and look up a word and allow myself to digest, then I will. That's confronting something that is there, but I'm not intimidated by it. I'm not in disagreement with it. I'm not even argumentative to it. I'm just confronting it, right? And so that's what this energy was. This energy was to confront things. But of course, if someone is in their shadows, they could run away from themselves. They could have avoidance issues, right? They could avoid, they look at confrontation as arguments, debates, disagreements, and all those shadowy aspects of things, or they could self-sabotage, or whatever the case may be. Is that's like the polar opposite of what these energies have been putting in. And then we're gonna have like major heart. I mean, we're always having all these codes and all these activations every single day of our existence anyway, but there's certain time periods with certain cosmetic alignments that occur that amplify or illuminates certain keys in the universe. That, oh, wait a minute, I've been in this realm many times, but I didn't see this key before, and it unlocks a new door in that realm, in which you've been in that realm many times, right? So allowing yourself to bear witness, the heart chakra activations that's going to be going on in August is, anyways, yeah. I know you have a lot to share too. So
No, the podcast is about my guests sharing, and about the audience taking what resonates, what grows and expands them, leaving the rest. If you leave that energy without judgment, that means somebody else can pick up that energy, and it can be for their growth and expansion. But know that for me, what I've learned is that I had someone, when we express what we first, let me read what Ramel has to say. I'm loving this. I brought my journal, and I'm called to write. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Right. Yes. what I've noticed is, and it's not only spiritual community or the collective. I think this is just a worldwide thing as human beings. Um, when we tell somebody what we like or what we don't like, the person that we're talking to has a perspective as well that they feel the need to share, and they're going to tell you why, possibly depending on which way they're coming from, how you're wrong about what you like or don't like, or they're going to break you down, pull you apart, and explain how something's wrong with you the way you feel. The thing is, what I've learned is we're all here as I love it because Angelique, whenever she goes into anybody's life, the first thing she will say is wholeness. Okay? We are wholeness. We are an expression of that is whole already. That is seeking itself through, in, and as us. That is having an expression of a experience. And it's not seeking anything but the experience. It's not seeking the right or wrong of it. It's not seeking the like or dislike of it. It's seeking the experience after we've experienced it, or while we're experiencing it. We get to have the like or dislike. If we don't have a like, or if we don't have a dislike, how do we know what we're going to find to like? If we don't have a possibility of a story that shows us a perversion of hate, how are we going to know what to unconditionally love? Okay, these are all our contrasts, right? So even though you're having like I told somebody that I did not like or prefer a certain word, the automatic place that he went, the automatic place that he went to was that I was having a trigger moment. There's a difference between trigger and a difference between dislike, because you are going to have dislike in this form or in this, there's so many ways to call it, this duality of life. We were given that. So know that what I had to do was I had to stop. I think he was having this conversation, and I had to stop and go inward and go, am I triggered? And then my higher being said, no. And I said, I just have a dislike for it. And my higher being says, yes, we're in concordance with it. We're in agreement with it. And then I had to just sit back. And I believe Angelique was also in that live with me. We had to sit back and know when the divine said, okay, it's time to cut this off. Because the gentleman still had to get his dislike or his like for whatever the word was out. Why? Because that's his free will choice to like the word. And it's his free will choice to get out why he likes it. And it was his free will choice to say, well, I think you're triggered by it, therefore you're wrong. And it was his free will to say that, until both Angelique said, okay, I'm done. Or we said, okay, we're done. And the higher spirit said, okay, do this next. And we went about that. But everyone is coming from wholeness, seeking their like or their dislike, seeking their right or their wrong, seeking what is up and what is down, seeking these things that are going to make them have an experience. Now, it might not feel right for us in the experience, but we did choose to come to be part of that experience as a higher being. Now, as the form being, through free will, we get to find out how we opt out of that contract, because it's just playing on a playground. I'm going to tell you, when I figured that shit out, my whole shifting changed. It was like, oh, I get to opt out and I don't have to go to court. I just have to tap the button of my free will choice to go, oh, I don't want to play on this playground. I'm gonna shift to another play area. And then to figure out that my playground is much bigger than the playground that I played on when I was 5 years old. Holy shit. You know, back to you, Angelique.
No, I apologize about that. I was getting a message here.
That's okay. We're just
But
going with
yeah,
flow.
no, yeah, no, I completely agree. When it comes down to, allowing ourselves to be in the experience of whether it's like or dislike and just learning from it, because there are going to be, I mean, the same way I mentioned with the elements and the planets and whatnot, and the toroidal field of this planet in which we live in, and her being a sentient being and having her own, she has her own chakras, she has her own ways that she navigates through life, and we have spirits of the earth. We have nature spirits, we have earth spirits, we have air spirits, fire spirits, water spirits, right? And we have that as well with ourselves. We have spirits that we created with our thoughts, through our perceptions, right? And sometimes or through our emotions, our emotional body and whatnot. And sometimes a person may try to project their traumas or their triggers, or it doesn't even have to be necessarily a trauma or a trigger. They just may be trying to project and stimulate a certain outcome, right? So there's manipulation isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is what it is. It's being able to alter the energies around you, right? And so through intention, and somebody's intention may be like, I want to provoke. It's like salesmen do this all the time, right? They want to provoke you to get excited so that they can land the sale, right? Essentially. So they will manipulate the energetics of your emotional body and stimulate your mind with all these like trigger keywords, right? So even triggers, when I hear people say, oh, a healer can get triggered, I'm like, that's your perception, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. But I do not have to accept your projection, right? That's you. There is your truth, my truth, and then there's the truth. And the truth does not change regardless of your truth or my truth. Your truth and my truth are based on perceptions. They are based on opinions, based on our levels of consciousness and awareness of the all of everything that is in existence in that space, in that time. And so a lot of the times when a person has not gotten to a certain space of maturity, they have trust issues with themselves. If they're not confident in their being, if they have trust issues with themselves, if they're still dealing with imposter syndrome or unworthiness, or feeling like nobody understands me, nobody hears me, people pleasing, etc., whatever it is that they're dealing with, in the moment that someone is wanting to expand and grow, it can seem like a challenge. And if they are dealing with trust issues, they're not going to trust you to be a safe zone, because they don't trust themselves to have good discernment. So one of the best things I learned is, don't take it personal. This ain't about me. Now I'm experiencing this situation. Why am I experiencing this situation? And what is it for? Okay, but do I have to make that mine? Not necessarily. If they have avoidance issue, then they're essentially avoiding themselves. That don't got nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with them. If they have a trouble receiving love because all they have experienced was toxic relationships, perhaps maybe with narcissistic people that were selfish and that manipulated, certain emotional tactics to produce a certain result. And every time that they did that, they thought that they were gonna get more from this person, but instead they were getting breadcrumbs in that that relationship and feeling unworthy and having to cry. And now they're actually experiencing someone who genuinely, authentically, unconditionally loves them despite the appearance of all that trauma that they dealt with. Now they're going to, if they have not healed that part of themselves, they're going to question, is there an alternative motive in this experience? This person don't really love. Oh, I know what, I've been there. I know what they trying. Whole time you trying to show them love in a whole other dimension that they have not experienced before, so they can resist it and self-sabotage. So do you go about it in a way where you're confronting the situation with solution and unconditional love, or do you go into this with further debates and further separation for division, right?
Right.
This is what's going on in the collective. There's so much. They're talking about, oh, the Civil War. That shit is already here for those that are participating in that.
Right.
They do the gender wars. They do the colorism, the race wars, all these things, not realizing that they are being charged up by that's motive, by that agenda, right? And if you're allowing yourself to be in that space, anything that supposedly challenges the thought forms that you are so like
So
clingy to, yes, like if you're holding on to it clingy, then and it challenges that, you're gonna be in fight or flight mode. There's going to be a moment where it's gonna be like a battle of the egos, a battle of, and there's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is, but it's to be in the awareness. The attachment is what causes the suffering.
Right.
When you allow yourself to detach, okay, I'm clinging on to this because this is what I know. Maybe I don't know it all, and that's okay to say, what happens if I let this go?
Yeah.
What does it open up? What does it bring? Does it bring resolution, or does it bring me into a further windmill? And listen, if it's chaos, the thing is, your soul is gonna guide you to know when to let go. But if you don't trust yourself to know, and if you don't trust yourself, you're not gonna let go, because you're saying, I'm questioning, I'm challenging my own soul. I'm challenging my own knowing. And so if you choose to let go when your soul is saying, hold on just a little bit, not yet, not right now, hold on, just hold on a little bit longer, and you let go, you can go into a space of chaos. And guess what? You're gonna get your ass beat just a little bit, just a little bit.
Can I add?
But that's something.
Can I add right there? There is,
Go ahead.
what I had to do was, when I came out of a meditation, there is two, this blew my mind. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. There are two types of chaos. There is the organized chaos of the universe, of cosmic universe. There's the organized cosmic shifting of all that is divine, that is considered chaotic from the mind's view, right? And then there is chaos, as we see in a lot of the world, that is not in sync with the parameters of the mind telling us what's in linear formation. And when I heard that, or when the divine shared it with me, I said, I don't know if I can share that with everybody, because everybody they're used to chaos being of form. And the divine says, no, when you speak of it, those who are going to resonate to it will resonate. But if you don't speak of it, speak on it, how will they ever know that it's okay to resonate there? How will they ever know that they're thinking it too, and they're holding on to it, because nobody else has said it? And I said, well, you're putting that on my shoulders. And the divine says, well, you asked a question. And true enough, There goes that little me from that little girl that asked an embodying question, because every time I saw a picture of the divineness of the universe, of all of the creation that is and is not, it is spiraling. It is pulsating. And I just asked, is that how, is my ego looking at that as total chaos? That's why it doesn't want to take me there. And the divine said, yes. So when I speak of chaos, I'm speaking of chaotic chaos from the realm of form. If you're in that chaos, you have to go within yourself to see what projector you're projecting out, and the only change can happen from the inside out. So which is my perception, but guys, it doesn't have to be your perception. It gets to be a I'm going to take what resonates for me, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to try it out for size, because one size doesn't fit all, and go with the flow. I'm telling you, Angelique, we come from another galaxy. We come from billions and billions of galaxies far away. It's like we've been doing this for a very long time, and we're giving people both ends of it so they can meet right in the middle and go. They can explode into all of that cosmic dust that they are, and then come back together and go, I got it for them. And I mean, I'm feeling it all over. I feel like I just want to levitate out my chair.
I love it. I love it. And that's really how it feels. That's really how it is. I'll share with you briefly, like even earlier today, I'm not gonna lie, like I said, my best friend called me. I said, oh, you must have sensed me. I got hit by a car walking today. And they called me. Yeah, I was like, I told the person, a light language just came out pouring through me. I scared the shit out of them. Didn't even mean to scare them, and then I G-checked them and I said, listen, let me tell you something. I could be a real big asshole if I really wanted to right now. I was like, but he seemed very sincere. He was scared. I mean, his eyes were like watering, like he was like, oh, I'm about to lose my job, because he was doing deliveries and he wasn't paying attention to the road. And like he said he didn't see me because he turned his head to look at the building and XYZ. And I pretty much, I did let him go. I let him go with a warning, and I let him go with he's like, I swear, I said, you have to promise me that you're going to pay attention to the road, because I don't need you killing nobody. And he's like, oh, trust me. I'm not going to, no, I won't kill nobody. I'm not, and there are so many ways I could have handled it. And so many people was like, I would have still been there. You better than me. I would have still been on the phone there with the cop, talking to the cops, waiting. I would have still been talking to him, waiting for the cops. And, there was so many things that was involved in that moment. And I really, in the 2.5 seconds that it happened, I literally felt like, boom, I came out of my body and I came back into my body. And I was able to, even though I don't know if that's what he saw, that's what I experienced. I experienced me coming out of my body and coming back into my body. And in that short moment, I was able to see and discern so much of the potential that could have came out from that situation had I called the cops and stuff like that, and what that would do to him, and his work and everything like that. And the truth is, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't hurt. He was driving slow enough. Now, if he would have drove fast, that could have been really bad. And then that would have been a different scenario. He was practically on his brakes because he was checking to see if that was the building. But what he didn't check was if there was a person in front that was crossing.
Right.
That's where he messed up. So he was going slow to the point where they were like baby bops, like on my body, and with that, I was like, and then I put my hand on his car, and I pretty much put it in a sense where it was gonna bring him the awareness so that he wouldn't hit another person.
Right.
Now, if that makes him jolt or something after, however it manifests is how it needs to manifest, in a sense where, so that nobody gets killed from this shit. But if you were intentional, this shit is gonna backfire on you. And if this was an accident, then you will be it's already forgiven, it's already done. And I knew, and so I decided to converse with him with that, and I seen that, and being able to I trust myself so much. When my intuition gives me, I may not know exactly why or what, but I knew before I even saw his passenger side to know that he was doing deliveries. My intuition told me, oh shit, he's a delivery guy. This is his only income.
Quando aqui solo hua da hena. Eu sou sonati ki o chenoto kuai.
And it needed to happen. It needed to happen so he can pay attention moving forward. And I told him, you are lucky it was with me and not with somebody else, because you would have lost your job. You would have lost your job. And in that, I also had to mind, because for a moment, right? The highs, the lowers, the in-betweens, coming up and out and back into. Yeah, yes. So with that, I had to choose which part of me was going to deal. And that's why I said, yeah, I could be an asshole, because I felt that part of me. I felt my colon fluctuated and in that situation, and I was like, okay, no, relax. I don't need to be in fight or flight right now. I'm okay. I'm good.
Right.
And with that, that's how I chose to confront that situation. And he didn't know how I was going to confront the situation. All he knows is, now here comes this woman. This is confronting me, being confrontational. Yes, to let you know, I can be an asshole. I'm not calling the police. I see your license plate. We already spoke. All is done. Now you drive the fuck careful.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is that karma is going to be way worse than what transpired here if that was intentional.
Yeah.
If you were intentional and you saw me and you chose, and he said, I promise I did it. My head was turned. I did it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give you that. I didn't have to do that. And my best friend called me immediately after. And I wasn't sure if I was going to share the story with anyone. I shared it with him, but I wasn't sure if I was going to share it with anybody, because I'm like, to me, I've been through worse. I've been through worse, and there comes a point in time in life when you have to know how to pick and choose your battles, and what's worth your time and your energy, and what I had other things I had to do, and for me, that was the shock that he needed for him to be able to pay the fuck attention. Let me stop being on this phone, distracted on this phone. Let me stop being distracted on. No, let me make sure that I'm being the proper observer that I need to be in all aspects of my life. And that's what I did. My higher self was like, girl, you was jaywalking too, though, right? Even though I was like, the pedestrians got the right of way, right?
Yeah.
Because we do.
Yeah.
We do. But I'm like, I'm not going to do him like that, because even though he was in the beginning of the street, which was further down, that's what I said. He slowed down, and that happened so slow, but so fast. Because if he would have been driving at the same speed that he hit me, he would have never hit me, because he still would have been half down the block. Right. But he decided to speed, and then he slowed down, which is why I was like, did he do this on purpose or not? But when he did hit me, and the thing is, I saw him too. So like, I could have chose to not go in front. I still went. You know what I'm saying? When that happened, when I came out of myself and back into myself, it was really not. In that moment of me coming out and coming back in, I already did the healing process that needed to be done so that there was no injuries to my body.
Yeah.
I know that I have this capability and that my body has the ability to function in that quantum realm to heal as well with my soul. And this person doesn't have that awareness yet. So when we're great, the thing is, a lot of the times there's a lot of people that they have all this great wisdom, all this great power, and then they start criticizing those that don't know. Oh, they're lower vibrational, or they're this and they're that. No. Listen, with great power comes great responsibility. And
Yep.
when you know what you know, that does not mean that they are less than you. Y'all are both having a human experience in this round. Okay? You have something to learn from them as well. That doesn't mean that you get the right to criticize them where they are in the journey. It might be for you to teach them, or it might be for you to shut the fuck up and learn unconditional love. Love them despite of. Or for you to say, I trust myself and know myself to get the fuck up out of here. You don't got to say anything bad about the individual, but you can remove yourself from there.
Yes, you can. And while you were telling the story, the divine was giggling in me. The divine was giggling in me because your higher beings, both yours and his, you were at the right place at the right time, and your higher being told his higher being, I'm going to give you something to contemplate, because the higher being wanted to learn what grace was. And that's what the word that my higher being is giving me is grace. And grace and what is it? Grace and grace.
It was like compassion is what that's
grace,
what I said was like,
yeah,
give him that compassion, because he's a young black man who's constantly getting belittled with this is what I was picking up was he gets enough torture from being a black man from his own environment, and the cops weren't going to be friendly to him, and who knows if he has a wife or a female that talks down to him. So that was one of the things too that I had picked up energetically, and I was like, that's why I said I could have reacted in the ways that I want, and my eyes was just like that. I was like, oh, I could be such an asshole right now. I could be such an asshole right now, but I'm not gonna give you that.
Right.
I'm not gonna give you that.
I'm sorry. I had a phone call that tried to come through, so I might have paused for a second, but I hope everybody can hear me. Yeah, it was the tap tap thump thump that you heard was the protection of your spiritual guides and your higher being. The energy that you had when you put on the car was to cleanse his energy of any wrongdoing for him, so that he could go forward and grow and expand from that experience. You did a whole cleansing
in 2.5 seconds. When I tell you, Sandra, he went, it happened so fast and so slow at the same time, because he entered in the block and I had more than enough time to cross had he been in that speed, but he was going slow, and then he sped up and then he slowed. It was like as soon as he thought of speeding up, it was like everything in him said, slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
Because he didn't slow down.
The divine says he didn't speed up. He took his foot off the brake unconsciously
for a moment, and then by the time he got to me, that's what I said. It was his foot was on the brake already, because he was looking for the building, but he didn't see me because he's paying attention to the address.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you're not you pay attention to your surroundings.
Yeah.
slow. If you know that you're looking for a building, you should have been slowing down the whole entire time anyway. But
Right.
it is, and that's what I felt when I put my hand on his car for the and I was talking in light language. I felt that. I felt like it was a sense of mercy that was coming through, I don't know why the word want it's like with a R wants to come out, but it's like um giving him
Oh,
that
is it restoration? Restore?
mm-mm,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm. Like not
Um,
not reprimandment, but like if he did that intentionally, that he will be reprimanded. But if it was subconscious, and yes, that is exactly what, because I do that with my car. I have, I put my shield in and every, so it was like a shield so that it can give him that awareness. That's why I said in the future, if he gets to a space where he's getting close to another person, even if it's a subconscious like jolts or something, he will put the brakes to not be able to hit the, essentially helping him, protect him from getting into any further
yeah,
accidents moving forward,
yeah,
right? But
right.
also for him, that if it was intentional, then he was going to receive the
Yeah.
reprimandments that he needed to
That
receive
the
with
law of
that.
cause and effect, or law of karma, would activate itself, or
Yes.
be activated in
Because
that
I
sense
thought he
of
was
action.
sincere.
Yeah.
If I didn't think that he was sincere, I would have not dealt with it in that way. But like I said, I seen that, and that's going back to conflict resolution with that, right? Like there's going to be moments when we're dealing with like family or a friend who we may feel like they're not on the same level of consciousness as us, or maybe they are logically, and like we can stimulate the mind in real good ways, but repercussions, I
Repercussions.
think that's the
Yes.
word.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Because I was like, it's with an R, I can't, it's not coming through. Yes, repercussions. Thank you.
Hmm.
West Coast, yes. So that was in regards to that. When it comes down to connecting with a soul tribe member, whether it's a family, a friend, or what, and yeah, maybe yeah, stimulate each other with the mind, but maybe emotionally, maybe one has more emotional intelligence than the other, and one knows how to emotionally regulate, and the other one doesn't, and whatnot. And if they don't know how to emotionally regulate and tap into their emotional intelligence, they can let their emotions consume them and override the logics, and go into a space of, this confrontation can become disruptive, or can cause separation, essentially, or division between our peers, right? Because that's happened with me before in passing. Like, I love a person, give them grace, they give me grace and stuff like that, but maybe they didn't have the emotional capacity to comprehend what was being shared with them, right? And so their tolerance level wasn't even in the space that their tolerance level is being shooked to expand.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh, it's a
and they're saying,
challenge.
no, no, I don't want to expand. I want this. And we're going, oh, but I love you so much. And here you go. I'm giving you this, and I'm showing you that. And here you go. You're expanding. No, no,
And
I
it's like,
can't
I didn't
expand.
ask for it.
Yeah,
And we need
right.
to honor that, right? If they're like, I didn't ask you for this, honoring that. Honoring that. You're right. You know what? Let me not even take this shit personal. You the one that don't want to expand. You the one that don't want, and you don't gotta vocalize it in that way. You can if you choose to,
Hmm.
but you don't gotta vocalize. I had to learn this shit ain't personal to me. They've never received this level of love before. So I'm such an embodiment of love that this is natural to me. This is normal, but they have not experienced it. This is why they needed to experience me to grow. But if they still have this resistance, it's never that that person isn't ready for you. A lot of the times we say, oh, that person is not ready for us. No. If they wasn't ready they wouldn't be in the frequency, they wouldn't be in the radar. Y'all are both ready for each other, is whether or not there's going to be a creation of resistance in that space or not, and what is the purpose. Sometimes we stay too long where we don't belong either. Like, you've been ready, but you was also ready to move on. You did the activations already happened the way that it needed to happen for whatever it is, and keep going. Does that mean that you judge them for still wanting to? Maybe you living in a mansion now and they still living in a studio apartment. Do you judge them for that? Maybe they're a
No.
janitor and you a CEO. Or are you now, in the level of spirituality and consciousness and all of that shit? We're all spiritual beings. What is here to share? Sometimes it's loving a person at a distance. Sometimes it's saying, this energetic frequency is not a compatible match with my purpose, and so I have to remove myself from this space, or else it's going to be a detriment to me and to them.
Right.
And because I love myself, I have to love myself enough to move away.
Yeah.
Or if you love the other person, loving the other person enough to move away.
Wait.
Sometimes you wanna hold on so tight.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's, oh, this person, you speak in a language I don't like, whether it's bitch, nigga, this, that, hoe, all this shit. You talking all that language, all the profanity and this. You know what? I don't gotta like how you speak.
Right.
Or you know what? I don't care if that's how you speak. Just don't speak to me that way. It shows you where do you want your boundaries. If you're gonna put boundaries, if you're gonna allow yourself to be a pushover, it's a learning experience. It's not to say that the person that's using the word bitch, nigga, this, that is less capable of comprehending all that you understand and comprehend consciously. They may even be over your level of consciousness, and because you're judging them, you're here and they're here, and they're provoking that. Oh, I know how to go down to your level, and I can scoop down lower, and I'm gonna go right back up because I know how to do that.
Yeah,
while you're just
the intentionality.
Their provocation is to see, how do you handle it? Do you want to handle it to break through and meet me where I'm at too and play with this? Are we gonna play? Or is it that if you pass over here, you're now in the dead zone, where this dead zone, right? Where it can cause brain damage, it can cause organ damage, it can cause confusion, mental fog, it can cause dizziness, it can cause disalignment or sickness or dis-ease and discomforts and whatever the case may be. But vice versa, guess what?
Then that's kind of getting into.
I'll finish this in a moment, right? And so if that's the case and you go up there to meet them where they're at, that can do what the codes are going to do to create that distortion, right? Now, they may be able to meet you over here, but maybe the lowest they can go is here, and the lowest you can go is down here, right? And if they do the same thing, if they attempt to go lower, then the same thing happens to them. Mm-hmm. They now start getting distorted. They start getting sick or discomfort and this and that. And so that's not that it's a right or wrong, good or bad. It's that the energetics of it hasn't got into the space where if I go that much higher, it's still going to be healthy for me. Or if I go that much lower, it's still going to be safe and healthy for me as well. Learning what your energetic signature can integrate with, morph with, alchemize with. We're ever changing, ever transforming. And it's okay. We can choose to go into those spaces and say, fuck it, I'm gonna get myself sick for a moment, because this is what we call ascension symptoms as well. But that don't mean that I can't come out from this be having access to those higher or lower rounds should I choose to. I just have to be strong enough and willing to go through the process of this transformation, of this death, rebirth, transformation. Ascension symptoms, everybody say ascension symptoms. They don't even know what that means. When you are ascending from here, you are no longer in that frequency. You're no longer in that vessel. So when we go through ascension symptoms, sometimes it feels like a fever. Sometimes it's dizzy spells. Sometimes it's all these things because you are breaking through into an unknown realm, and your immune system is having, it's now, yeah, there's a form of war that goes on. Guess what? The white blood cells are your army, your warriors. Oh, they're going to go try to attack what is attacking your system. It's learning to recalibrate itself, to readjust itself to the newer frequencies that it has not been exposed to before. So whether someone had gotten a certain medication or a needle or whatever the case may be, these things, if you put your mind to it and you do what you need to do to overcome these things, you can overcome it, and you can allow your process to morph you into a different version of yourself than you originally started off with or knew yourself to be. But if not, it can take over you, and it can create that form of disruption, that form of division and separation from yourself. Now you start doubting your healing abilities. Now you start doubting your intuition. Now you start doubting that your soul has guided you to the right places at the right time. You know what? Do you believe in coincidence? Were you guided here? Did your soul guide you here to listen to me and Sandra today, here and now? Or is this just by chance? Right? And
Right.
if it was by chance, what's the purpose of it here? What is it doing for you? Because we could talk all the shit we want to fucking talk all day, but what does it do for you? What does our words have any if there's a resonance for you, how can that illuminate for you to move forward in your purpose and continue to grow and thrive and prosper? And if there is a confliction or a division or something that is challenging your thought processes to grow, then I invite you to sit with yourself and ask yourself questions of what is the resistance, what is the conflict, and do I want to grow because my soul brought me here? Or do I not trust my soul? Allow yourself to reconnect with your soul. I invite you to reconnect with your soul. I invite you to ask these questions. I invite you. It's okay. Listen, you could call me whatever names you want to call me. You could challenge me, whatever. Just be prepared that every action has a consequence with it, and how that navigates, right? And sometimes, I give tough love, and sometimes I give soft, compassionate love. But I just needed to share that because when you're going through these growing pains, through these ascensions, you're going to go through discomforts. It's gonna be uncomfortable. And anytime I make someone uncomfortable, it's never because I want to harm anyone. And there's a thing of my intentions. You know how you ever have somebody, oh, but my intentions were good. Sometimes the person's intentions may have been good for them, or they may thought it was good, but it's not good for the whole, for the complete of it. No, when I'm coming into a space, I will be like, okay, let me step my ego to the side. Let me allow myself to be a divine channel for this frequency, for the messages that need to come through. Because you know what? I might have good intentions, but if this shit ain't serving their highest and greatest good, it ain't none of my fucking business to be saying something that is from a pure space of heart, and my intentions were good. Maybe they're good for me and not good for that person. And then there's
Yeah.
also allowing myself to be so embedded into
You're
divine love frequency
starting to
that I
break up.
am. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Yeah. To be so embedded in the divine love frequency of all that I am, that I can use my discernment and say, oh, as much as I might want to say this or do this, that can be a detriment to this person's soul. And so, you know what? Sources is I'm trying to speak it out, and I'm all of a sudden I can't get the words out, or I'm forgetting what it is. No, if I forget it and I say sources, is it really for them? Let me get it back. It's gonna come right back. But if I forget it, and it don't come back. It wasn't for it to come back. It wasn't for me to give. It wasn't for me to deliver. It wasn't for me to share. And having to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That I just kind of wanted to leave that with that. And I'll get to the next thing. When I know you want to share some, so please.
Yeah. Just so that you know, everything that she says is about assimilating, acclimating, acclimating, and okay, assimilating, acclimating, the growth and okay, it's assimilating, acclimating. Those are your intentions. It's digging down deep, like roots that keep going down and down and down, right? They've seen the sun, and then as they go up to the sun, they also go down and they spread out, and you're anchoring that energy, your energy. my friend used to call it inner chi. Is about your growth, your expansion, your anchoring into who you are. There's nothing wrong with who you are, who you want to be, and as those roots go down from who you are into who you want to be, they go and they spread out to the infinite possibilities of all that you can be, right? So when a higher being, you and another higher being come in form body and you express with each other in a relationship, both of you are doing this. It may be at the same integral time, and it may not. But it may be that your higher being came to express, I want to show love and compassion. And the higher being that you're expressing it to wants to see what resistance is.
Sometimes they be like, baby, because I'm a thug. Oh, I'm sorry.
But Angelique expressed it as one wants to expand and the other wants to resist the expansion and close. And it's okay once you play in that arena through all the growth and expansion that you have in your anchoring of energy or inner chi from within and your expansion of it. Each of us have that right to play on the playground there. But when you get tired of showing the unconditional love that, hey, you agreed to do at whatever certain time that was to come in, and you go, okay, I'm tired, or not even tired, I believe I played enough with this. There's somebody else that can come play and take over my position of you wanting to resist expansion. See you. Right? You don't.
And so with that, right, it's like leaving with love, right? Because if it's unconditional love, it's from a space of unbiased, being unbiased to whether they choose to accept or deny the love.
It doesn't even matter if they choose to accept it.
It's like, I'm going to love you. I'm going to remove myself and go where I have to go, but I love you despite your choice or whatever. Right. But then there's people that they'll leave because they're like, oh, I'm loving you unconditionally, but you're not, accepting of my love. And then they don't realize that with the quote unquote rejection that they're experiencing from the person who's resisting, they're angry, they're resentful, they're accumulating all these other emotions that have based on the love was truly conditional love. They just weren't aware that they were operating from conditional love, and so now they're leaving because their conditions are not being met.
Yes.
And they want to vocalize it in a sense where they were being unconditional loving. No, unconditional loving means loving them despite the conditions, despite the acceptance or the rejection of said energy, and moving forward to allow the great divine to narrate that story the way that it needs to be narrated. And then there's times when you're being put in certain positions where it's not that you aren't allowed to be conditional. Yeah, you might actually have a certain energetic authority over that energy, and it's not to say that again you are better than them and whatnot, but you are in the energetic position of authority over that energy to say this is incorrect and this is the matter of fact for correction status to occur, so that everyone can be in divine alignment of their sovereignty. And you are taking away or hijacking or harvesting from their sovereignty, and you are latching or creating some sort of tether of conditions that now their soul has to jump through certain other experiences because of that. And so the whole thing with unconditional love and authenticity is that it does allow a person to continue to choose love, to be in their true light body source, and get acquainted with source, get familiarized with their intuition and their knowing despite the appearances of circumstances and energies around them, and say okay. And it's okay if I don't like you mentioned, I don't, just because you don't like something, it doesn't mean that you're triggered from a space of trauma or resistance or resentment, or I don't like that shit. It's you do what you want to do, but that shit don't got nothing to do with,
With
that don't mean
me.
I gotta like it.
Yeah,
It's not for
right,
me.
right. Exactly. So I mean, there's infinite possibilities of how we can see our higher beings, or your soul or your spirit, whatever you choose to call it, is having a experience. And you may think that your soul came to say, I've come to do unconditional love, and maybe you have noticed that you haven't been giving unconditional love. Maybe you